One day, you will wake up and realize, no one is coming to save you. No superheroes, no perfect lovers, no best friends who are always on time, no family who always understands. Just you. Alone. In a cold and crazy world. It hurts, but that's when life starts to make sense. You used to think you were a good person, so everyone would love you. But then you learned that even kindness can be taken advantage of, that silence doesn't always mean peace. You used to rely on others to feel okay, but the more you learn, the more you realize, that feeling of okay is frighteningly fragile. One thing you have to learn, and the sooner you learn, is that independence is not an option. It's a condition for survival. Independence is not just about making money, but about getting up after being betrayed. Being able to embrace the pain, swallow the tears, and still go to work on time. When the whole world turns its back on you, you still don't give up on yourself. Self-reliance is when you learn to knock on the door instead of waiting for someone to open it for you. It's when you stop expecting someone to stay with you forever, and start building a life where if someone leaves, you'll still be strong. You know what? Being independent doesn't make you lonely. It just helps you realize who's staying for you, and who's staying for their own good. It doesn't make you close your heart, it teaches you to open up at the right time, to the right person. It doesn't turn you cold, it makes you warm in the right place, at the right time. We're taught to love others, but few teach you how to stand alone in the dark. Few tell you that there will be times when you have to go through a panic attack alone, in an empty room, with no one answering your messages, no one calling back. But it's in those moments that you grow up. You're strong. You are enough. People are afraid of loneliness, but loneliness teaches you that you can live without anyone, and when you live like that, you will never be held by anyone. People are afraid of failure, but it is failure that makes you know how to stand up with bleeding knees and eyes that are no longer illusions. Work, not to prove to the world, but to heal yourself. Learn life skills, not because of trends, but for inner freedom. Build yourself, because no one loves you more than yourself. Independence is not pride, but self-respect. Self-reliance is not indifference, but freedom. When you can stand alone in the storm, you will no longer be afraid of anyone leaving. And that is the day you are truly strong. There is a cruel truth that no one wants to say: not everyone who smiles at you loves you. Not everyone who is with you wants you to be happy. This world is sometimes beautiful, but it also has dark sides that if you are not alert, you will collapse right in front of those seemingly friendly eyes. You grow up with the belief that, be kind and you will be responded with kindness. But then one day, you give sincerely and receive abuse. You tell someone everything, and then they gossip about it like it's entertainment after work. You trust, and then you are betrayed. You hurt. But you are still not awake. What is being awake? It is not being suspicious, being cold, losing faith in life. It is seeing people clearly and still choosing to live beautifully, but not naively. You need to learn to read people like reading a book. Not every page is real. There are people who come into your life, not to accompany you, but to exploit you like a gold mine. They are friendly, caring, listening. Until you are no longer valuable. Sober is when you know who is coming for you, and who is coming for what you have. It is when you sit in the middle of a room full of laughter, but still feel the cold seeping into your skin because no one is really on your side. Does it hurt? It hurts a lot. Is it shocking? It is shocking. But you need to be sober, because the price of blindness is your own life. Don't lend your trust to anyone easily. Don't tell too much, share too soon. Learn to keep a part of yourself for yourself, like holding a precious gem in the palm of your hand, not showing it to all greedy eyes. You don't have to be suspicious. But you have to be smart. You have to know, sometimes, the person who disappoints you the most is the one you put the most trust in. Watch the actions, not the words. Someone says I love you, but do they stay when you have nothing left? Someone wishes you success, but are they really happy when you are better than them? This world does not operate on justice. It operates on benefits, emotions, and pretense. You have to be clear-headed enough to walk, not blindly, not naively. The truth does not hurt you. Blind expectations are what break you. The sooner you are clear-headed, the less you hurt. The less you expect, the more peace you have. And finally, don't forget. Being clear-headed doesn't make you rigid, it makes you soft at the right time. You don't have to be cold, you just have to know who deserves your warmth. There is a dull pain that few people dare to name. That is when you realize your loved ones are not always on your side. You grow up with the idea that family is the safest place. That no matter how much pain you have out there, just come home and you will be healed. But then you go through something, and that belief starts to crack. That is when you are tired, but no one asks if you are okay. It is when you are struggling under pressure, and they only ask, "Why aren't you as good as other people's children?" It is when you need a hug, but in return you get a long lecture and a cold look, "You are so weak." Does it hurt? It really hurts. Are you surprised? It's very much. Because you don't think, even your loved ones, can make you feel lonely. There are wounds that don't come from strangers, but from familiar meals, from the most familiar voices. There are times when you have to swallow your tears right in your own home, a place that should be a home, but turns into a prison. You used to think, as long as you live kindly, lovingly, and make an effort, then you will be accepted. But then you discover family love is not immune to comparison, expectation, and selfishness. Relatives may love you, but in their own way, not the way you need. They may worry, but instead of listening, they just pour out their own fears on you. They may sacrifice, but in return, they demand that you live exactly as they want. And so you are tormented. You love them, but also feel suffocated. You want to be close, but each contact hurts you more. The truth is, family is not always a peaceful place. Not everyone who gave birth to you understands you. And sometimes, you have to learn to love your loved ones from a safe distance. Don't let guilt keep you going. Don't trade your mental health and self-esteem for the word blood. You have the right to step out. You have the right to protect your limits. You have the right to choose silence to keep your peace. There are families that are just a shell of love, but empty of empathy. There are parents, siblings, who never understand you, but always demand that you understand them. It's okay. You're not unfilial, not cold, not ungrateful. You're just growing up and realizing that blood does not mean healing. Create another family from people who understand you, support you, respect you. Family sometimes is not where you were born, but where you feel safe to return. Almost every mistake you've ever made, every time you cried in the middle of the night, every time you wished you could go back and do things differently, it all started with an emotional decision. Think about it. You've forgiven someone who didn't deserve it, just because they cried and begged. You've given up on a great opportunity, just because you were scared. You've spent all your money, just because you were bored. You've held on to a toxic relationship, just because you still loved. And then, you paid the price. Emotions made you make bad decisions. Logic is what keeps you alive. It may sound cold, but it's a cruel truth that you need to learn as soon as possible. Because if you don't, your emotions will be the cruelest traitors to you, not your ex, not your two-faced friends, but your own fragile heart. We are taught to be true to our feelings. To listen to our hearts. To love truly. But no one tells you. If you don't learn to control your emotions, they will control your life and lead you to a dead end. You will be driven by anger and lose the people you love. You will be led by hurt and close all doors of opportunity. You will be ruled by fear and stay in the same place forever. And you will ask yourself, why is my life not getting better? The reason is simple, you use your emotions to drive a car called life. And emotions are inexperienced, drunk, directionless drivers. You can't get very far with someone like that behind the wheel. Reason is not as cold as you think. Reason is the ability to see the truth even when your heart is shaking. It's about letting go of someone who hurts you, even though you still love them. It's about staying silent when angry, retreating when provoked, holding on when hurt. It's about persisting in doing the right thing even when it's uncomfortable, lonely, and temporarily unrewarding. Living by your emotions. You're loved, but easily taken advantage of. Living by your mind, you're misunderstood, but always in control. No one can stop you from feeling. But don't let your emotions decide your life. Let your heart beat, but let your head decide. Love others, but don't be blind. Cry when you need to, but never make a decision while tears are still rolling down your cheeks. Because if you don't control your emotions, they will destroy you. A strong person is not someone who doesn't have emotions, but someone who knows how to put them in their pocket, move forward with reason, and not let their life depend on the waves of their heart. How many times have you seen someone smile and felt a chill inside? How many times have you walked into a room, no one said anything, but you knew you weren't welcome? How many times have you decided to do something, everything seemed perfect on paper, but there was a faint voice inside you telling you, don't. Something's wrong. It's not thinking. It's not logic. It's not emotion. It's intuition. It's the survival instinct that the universe has built into you like an invisible compass. And my friend, it's never wrong. Intuition is something we can't explain, but it's always right in the strangest of ways. When you ignore it, you pay the price. When you trust it, you escape. You call it gut feeling. Others call it sixth sense. But the truth is, it is the voice of the subconscious, of experience, of invisible data that your brain has been silently collecting and synthesizing. You don't see it, but you know it. No one warns you, but you feel it. We live in a world that values reason, logic, evidence, data. Everything must have evidence. Every choice must be reasonably explained. And so we learn to silence the mysterious voice inside, the intuition that saved our ancestors from wild animals, from traps, from fatal mistakes. We forget the most powerful weapon, deep feeling from within. You know that person is not sincere, even though they say all the sweet words. You know that the deal smells risky, even though all the numbers are perfect. You know you should leave, even though your heart is still in love. And you don't know why you know. It's just that, you know. There are times when you don't listen to your intuition, and then you suffer the consequences. You blame yourself, I should have trusted that first feeling. Because intuition is always whispering, but accurate. So, the next time the universe sends you a strange feeling, stop. Listen. Observe. It may be the only warning you get before a storm hits. Learn to listen. Learn to trust. Intuition doesn't need a reason to be right. It just needs you to be quiet long enough to hear it. And when you practice that skill, you will know who to stay and who to go. You will know when to say yes and when to firmly say no. You will avoid the biggest mistakes of your life, just by a slight shiver. Trust your intuition. It is an invisible map that leads you out of a maze that reason is not fast enough to draw. Because sometimes, what saves you is just a strange feeling that you did not ignore. There's a cruel truth that no one ever told you when you were a kid. If you don't know what you're worth, the world will give you the cheapest price. Not because they're bad. Because you're silent. Because you don't fight back when you're undervalued. And then, over time, you become a commodity on the sale counter, accessible to everyone, but unappreciated. You've accepted a salary that's lower than the value you create out of fear of losing your job. You've held on to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. You've endured disrespect, sarcasm, and contempt because you thought I'm not good enough to ask for more. But my friend, you weren't born to be a copy, for others to define who you are. You're not a shirt on a sale shelf for people to pick out, try on, criticize, and then throw away. You are unique. There is no one like you. No one has your heart, your experiences, your pain and recovery. And only when you see that will the world begin to change its view of you. Don't let self-doubt drag you into a dark place where you tell yourself, well, I guess I don't deserve it. They did it because they're better than me. I'm nothing special. That's a lie your mind repeats over and over again until you believe it. But the truth is, you're not as ordinary as you think you are. Remember, how others treat you depends on how you allow them to treat you. If you put yourself down, they'll walk all over you without feeling guilty. If you don't say enough, they'll never stop. And don't confuse humility with self-doubt. Humility is knowing you are good, but not showing off. Self-esteem is knowing you are good, but denying and burying it. You don't have to put on a front, you don't have to pretend to be strong. You just have to acknowledge your own worth. Look in the mirror every morning and say, I deserve good things. I don't have to beg or please anyone to be loved. Because when you value yourself, you will see. A bad job will no longer hold you back. A person who doesn't appreciate you will no longer make you cry. A toxic environment will no longer make you feel small. You value yourself. No one else has the right to do that. And when you step out into the world with the firm belief that I am not a discounted item. I am a limited edition, and not everyone has it. The world will have to adjust its perspective. Because you don't settle for cheap. Because you know you deserve better. Have you ever felt so angry that you trembled when someone did something bad to you? Someone said something thoughtless. Someone betrayed your trust. Someone criticized, insulted, trampled on your kindness. And you felt like screaming, smashing things, or disappearing from this world. But my friend, the surprising truth is, you cannot control anyone. No words, no actions, no thoughts of others are in your hands. They will do what they want. They will say what they think. And they will live their lives, regardless of how you feel. But you have a power more magical than any miracle. The power to choose how you respond. That is what makes the difference between a person who is always hurt and a person who is spiritually free. No one can make you angry unless you allow them to. No one can make you feel worthless unless you accept their value. Others may spread poison, but you have the power not to swallow it. Others may throw stones, but you have the power to use them to build a bridge to cross. When you control your reactions, you take back all the power. You are no longer a puppet of your emotions. No longer a victim of circumstances. You become your own master. People may laugh at you, you laugh back. People may turn their backs, you move on. People may blame, you stay strong. Because you understand. I am not responsible for the actions of others. But I am completely responsible for my own actions. Imagine life as a storm. The wind can knock down trees, the rain can pour, the thunder can shake the sky. But you can't shout to make the storm stop. You can only learn to stand. Learn to dance in the rain. Peace doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from how you choose to see. From letting go of what you can't change, and holding on to what you can control. You can't control betrayal. But you can control how you forgive or how you walk away. You can't control the words that are said. But you can control what you believe and what you let into your heart. Don't let your life be controlled like a remote control. You can pause, mute, or change channels whenever you want. And then, one day, you will see. Whether others change or not, you are still free. No matter how stormy life is, you are still at peace. Because you have learned the hardest, but most valuable, lesson. No one can control you unless you give up control of yourself. We spend our lives running. Running after money. Running after success. Running after love, praise, status, the eyes of approval from others. We think that if we can control everything, work, lover, family, society, we will be happy. But the truth is cruel. No matter how much money you have in your account. No matter how much he loves you. No matter how much fame covers your name in the newspapers. There will still be times when you feel empty. Lost. Panic. Pain. Why? Because you have fought all your life to control the outside world. But have forgotten the only land you truly have the right to control, the world inside you. You can control your phone, your car, your corporation. But if you can't control your thoughts, emotions, desires, fears, and beliefs,
then everything you control outside of yourself is just an illusion. Think about it. You get angry because others don't do what you want. You get frustrated because things don't go as planned. You get jealous, hurt, sad, just because the world isn't what you expected. It all comes from within. The outside world doesn't make you miserable, it's your mind that does. Someone can say something carelessly, you can stay angry for a day, a week, or forgive for 5 minutes. Not because they change, but because you choose to feel differently. That's the greatest power a human being has. The power to choose how to live, from the inside out. You don't have to go far to find peace. No need to meditate on high mountains, no need to hide from society, no need for someone to come and save you. It's all already inside you. You just need to stop. Listen to your heart. Face the storms in your heart, not to run away, but to understand and embrace them. Only when you master your inner self, the outside world no longer has the power to break you. When others judge you, you still stand still, because you know who you are. When life is in turmoil, you are still steadfast, because you have a foundation in your own heart. When everything falls apart, you still hold your head high, because inside you are no longer panicking. Mastering your inner world. That is the quietest, but most resounding victory. It is the foundation for everything you want to build. It is the key to unlocking a life that is full, deep, truly free. Remember, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You can't control the world, but you can control how your soul faces it. Choose the harder path, turn inward. And then you'll be surprised. The world out there suddenly becomes gentler. Have you ever asked yourself, I'll start when everything is right. When I'm good enough, rich enough, experienced enough, brave enough, then I'll do it. When the time is perfect, I'll take the step. You know what? The perfect time never comes. Not because it doesn't exist, but because life isn't designed to wait for you to be ready. It starts when you're shaking and still walking. When you're worried, skeptical, but still moving forward. When you know you're not good enough, but still taking action. Because maturity doesn't come before action, it comes after. People still say, you have to be prepared before you do something big. But in reality, the people who did the greatest things in history never felt ready. Steve Jobs dropped out of college, had no clear plan, but still created Apple. J.K. Rowling was unemployed, raising a child alone, and wrote Harry Potter while in the depths of depression. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect to act. They just did it. Right when they were confused. Right when everything was still unclear. And from that moment, the magic began. Imagine you are standing in front of a big door. Behind it is the dream you've always cherished, a brilliant career, a true love, a meaningful life. You hold the doorknob. But your hand is shaking. Your mind is filled with questions. Am I good enough? What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I waste my time, money, effort? You hesitate. Hesitate. Then you decide to wait a little longer. But how much time is enough? A month? A year? 10 years? Or the rest of your life? The cruel truth is, it's not that you're not capable enough. It's that you don't believe in yourself enough. You don't lack knowledge, you just lack the courage to start. And sometimes, just that second can turn your life into a completely different chapter. Not a perfect chapter, but a real chapter. Lively, passionate, and worth living more than ever. You may fail, stumble, get rejected. But from there you will learn. You will be stronger. You will grow. Because miracles never happen in a safe zone. It only appears when you dare to break out and step into the unknown journey. Start even if you're not ready. Say I love you even if your heart is still in turmoil. Do what you dream even if your hands are still shaking. Because life doesn't wait for you to be ready. But it always welcomes you when you dare to step forward.
There are moments in life when you are faced with a myriad of choices, with no signposts that say, this is the right way. There are no arrows, no maps, no one to signal. There is only your heart beating faster than usual and an inexplicable feeling rising. Let's try to enter. The most important doors, the doors that can change your destiny, often have no clear names. They are not labeled safe, not labeled success, and no one advertises them as the ideal path. They are simply strange, different, and give you a sweet fear. There is an old story that goes: a young man wandered down a foggy road. He could turn back to the clear light, the one his friends had chosen. Or, he could keep going, not knowing where he was going. He kept going. And beyond the mist is a beautiful forest, where he found himself. He didn't find the safe path, but he found the true path. In this life, there are choices that don't have any exact advice. No one tells you to love that person. No one tells you to give up your stable job to pursue what you love. No one dares to say that moving to a new city, studying a new major, or starting over, is the right thing. But your heart, it knows. Even though it doesn't say it out loud, it trembles when it's right, and stays silent when it's wrong. What leads you to the most important doors in life is not reason, but intuition. A vague call. A hunch. A spark in your soul that no one but you can see. Many people live their whole lives without ever stepping through those doors. They wait for the sign, for someone to assure them that this way is success. But you know what's strange? Doors with signs usually lead to crowded places. And crowded places are rarely your only place. But doors without names often lead to horizons that no one has named. And there, you will not only find a new world, but you will find yourself, the version that has never been revealed. Maybe there will be times when you take the wrong step. Maybe there is a dead end behind the door. But do not be afraid. Because every door you dare to enter, even if it is wrong, teaches you something that those who just stand outside will never have. Sometimes, to find the right path, you have to go through 10 nameless doors. And at the 11th door, you will exclaim, "This is it. This is my path." Life has no labels. Great things don't have signs. But your heart, it knows the way. And sometimes, all you need is to trust once, to open up a whole new world.